Hello, everyone. Good morning. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. How is everyone today? Let me turn the lighting down just a bit. There we go. Hello, everyone. It is Wednesday, June 14th. Let's try that one more time. Hello, everyone. It's Wednesday, June 14th. It's 9:15 a.m. And it is once again a very rainy, cool, wet day in Cincinnati, Ohio, with very bizarre weather. It should be hot right now. It should be really hot right now, but it is wet and almost cold. So, strange things happening in the world. Hello, Nada. Hello, Fluke. Hello, Nguyen. Hello, Shizuka. Hello, Noradine and Bellin. Good morning. How are you? I saw the video of Adriana using the weed whacker. I was a little worried. That's a very dangerous weed whacker she was using. That's a big one. That's like an industrial one. But she did really well. She did really well. So, yeah, let's see. Hello, Tanya. Hello, Lena. Hello, Mona. And Vin Smoke. Same weather in northern Italy. Yeah, it's weird. So weird, man. My garden, I have not needed to water my garden at all. It's so weird. Usually it's so hot and dry you need to water the garden every few days, but it's so cool that we didn't have any rain for a while, but the temperatures weren't hot, so I still didn't need to water my garden. Could I give 2 to 3 examples of using the expression to hook up in a non-intimate connotation? Sure, Ruslan, yeah. So, yes, you're correct. The term hook up can have a meaning that basically means it's intimate. It usually means some people got together and had sex. Okay? But it also could have a non-intimate platonic meaning, which would just mean to meet up. So hook up and meet up are pretty much the same phrasal verbs, okay? So if you said, I'm going to go to the store and we'll hook up later, that just means I'm going to go to the store and we'll get together later sometime. We'll meet later sometime, okay? So, yeah, or we're going to go here, you guys go here, and then we'll hook up here at 4 o'clock. Right? So in this case, Ruslan, you can pretty much substitute the phrasal verb meet up with hook up. Okay? Nada, the term bizarre, in this case means strange, which is funny, right? Because the word bizarre, actually, I think it comes from Arabic, if I recall. And a bizarre, let me double check on the etymology. I want to make sure that that's not related to another word, but let me double check. So, bizarre etymology. Now, do you see what I'm doing here? I am using my left hand to type in everything, not my right hand. I'm right-handed. I could use my right hand, but I'm using my left hand. Why do I do that? Does anyone know? So the word bizarre comes from the French, bizarre, and then from the Italian, bizzarro. And before that, oh, no, I guess it comes from Italian. Okay. All right. Well, look at that. So there's another word. There's another word, bazaar, spelled differently. It's spelled slightly differently. A bazaar, that's the one that comes from Arabic. It means a market, right? But in this case, bizarre comes from the Italian word bizzarro, which means the Italian word means to be quick to anger. So that if you're easily angered quickly, then the term is bizarro. But the French word means strange or weird or fantastic in some way. So in this case, Nada, when I say the weather is bizarre, I mean it's strange, it's not normal, it's not like the normal weather we have here, the typical weather we have here now. Okay? That was a long explanation. Hello, Lois. Hello, Kathy. Hello, Alan and Kiki. Hello again, Anya. Good to see you again. 36. Yeah, that's hot. That's what I mean. It's should be pretty hot here usually. Kathy, what's the topic today? So, Kathy, this is my English Q&A session. Q&A means question and answer. So if you have any questions about English, culture, grammar, vocabulary, pronunciation, idioms, phrasal verbs, give them to me and I will do my best to knock them out. All right? You pitch them, I hit them. Hello, Juan Carlos. Good to see you, my friend. Yeah, I bet that was too heavy for her. Hello, Fernando from Sao Paulo. And I'm enjoying some really, really yummy raspberries from my garden. Raspberries from my garden, everyone. Very delicious. I just picked these this morning, an hour ago. Mm-hmm. Sweet and sour. My favorite. Check your moment. Okay, Anya. Except I don't know if I can check your moment, Anya. Anya, if you send me a message, then maybe I can check your moment. But I don't know if I can find you if you don't send me a message. I can't do it from... It's confusing because I'm not using my phone to do my live streams, so I can't connect to you from my computer. Hello, Jamarl. It's Italian, apparently, originally. Yeah, Bellin. Yeah, so, again, languages, they have a path, right? In time, they come from certain places. This term, bizarre, meaning odd or weird or strange, comes from French, which then comes from Italian. And in most cases, if the word comes from Italian, then it probably comes from Latin. In most cases, the only words that, well, not the only, but I would say most of the words in the Italian language are based on the Latin language, and the ones that aren't were created in the modern era, largely. Look, I coughed and my program turned off. That's right, bizarro. Thank you, Anina. And I'm back. Let me make sure my settings are good again. Camera, microphone, speaker, captions. Okay. Can everyone see me and hear me okay? Yes? All right, good. Thank you. All right. Melody, who I love your name. It's always my favorite name. It reminds me of one of my students from Taiwan, and every time I would call her name, I would sing her name. Melody. So Melody says, I would like to ask you a question. Cold and snow, snowy and cold, which one is right? We would say cold and snowy. Actually, neither of those is right. The correct one, or the one I would choose, would be today is cold and snowy. Okay? Now, Melody, in my opinion, the rules about what order to put adjectives in when you write them, okay, there's a certain order that you're supposed to use for each adjective. You don't just put them in any random order. But this is one of those things that if you're not taking a test, then I don't care what order you say, and I will still understand the meaning. Right? So, you could say today was humid and hot and sticky and wet, and I don't care what order you put them in, I'll still understand your meaning. Okay? But, to be clear, I would choose cold and snowy. Combine those two answers and you get the right answer. That's right. So Anina, B-A-Z-A-R, which in English is spelled B-A-Z-A-R-R-E, I believe. Now, let's see. It's spelled B-A-Z-A-A-R. It's got 3 A's in it, and 2 of them are together. That's how you know it's Arabic. There are some other Arabic words that do that, or Arabic root words, I should say. So the word bazaar, B-A-Z-A-A-R, from the 1580s comes from the Italian bazara, but before that comes from the Persian word bazaar, meaning a market, which comes from the old Iranian word, I don't know how to pronounce this, Vahakarana, which means sale or traffic. Interesting. Yeah, so the original word means to sell things, actually. Interesting. Yeah. Thank you for that, Anina. Okay, let's see. Tamila says, I need your help. I've never heard native speakers say, I'm sorry very well. Tamila, what do you mean? Do you actually say that? I'm sorry very well. No, we don't say that. We say, I'm sorry very much. If you mean like you're very sorry, but more likely we would just say, I'm very sorry, or I'm really sorry. What are you trying to express, Tamila? If you're trying to express more feeling sorry, then you could say, I'm very sorry, I'm really sorry, I'm so sorry. Those are the most common ones in English. Yeah, I've also never heard anyone say, I'm sorry very well. No. Where did you see I'm sorry very well? Hola, Ruben. Hello, Irina. All right, let's see. Okay, so we got a question about past perfect, Alexa. So past perfect. Past perfect is when you want to talk about two events, two time periods. Okay? If there's a time period in the past and the current time period, then, or I should say the later action. So there's two times, two actions that happen. One happens and then another thing happens. Okay? So you could say, when the police arrived, the thief ran away. So, in this case, it doesn't really matter which order they happen. The sentence has the same meaning. I could say the thief ran away when the police arrived, or I could say when the police arrived, the thief ran away. Okay? So, in general, you use this tense when we're talking about two things that happened in the past, and you want to talk about them in relationship to each other. Okay? Aya, how can you start learning English? Aya, how did you learn Arabic? It's the same thing. You need to think about, what system did you use to learn Arabic? And then think about what system you could learn or use to learn English. Start from the beginning and know what your goals are, right? So different people are going to learn the language different ways depending on their different goals. If your goal is to go to Harvard University to study English, then you need to study the language in a very, very different way than someone who just wants to speak conversationally. So, if you just want to speak conversationally, then you need to develop a plan for how could I learn how to speak conversationally. Right? So find what is your goal first. Then after you have your goal, you can make a plan to achieve that goal. Okay? So many questions already. Please be patient. What does overwhelmed mean? Mona, overwhelmed, once again, let me check on one thing. So this word comes from, I wanted to see, where does whelm come from? Okay, so the word overwhelmed, in this case, it usually is a word we use when we say that we have too much of some kind of a feeling. Okay, so if you feel very, very sad about something, you could be overwhelmed with sadness. You could be overwhelmed with happiness, right? Like maybe if you haven't seen someone in 10 years and they're your best friend and now you see them, you'll be overwhelmed with happiness. Okay, so to be overwhelmed, imagine a cup, okay, and if it's full, then it's full. If it's got more than that, then it runs over. So in this case, it's like your emotions are so full they're running over. Okay? But the word overwhelmed, the word, so over, from the over, we know what over means, right? But whelm means to submerge completely. Oh, look at that. So the term overwhelmed actually comes from boats. The term comes from boats. When a boat was on the water, if a big wave comes and completely submerges the boat, then the boat has been overwhelmed. So imagine that if you have so many emotions that your emotional boat turns over, then you're overwhelmed. Okay? So you could say, I'm overwhelmed with grief. I'm overwhelmed with happiness. I'm overwhelmed with sadness. Any feeling that you have too much of, you can say overwhelmed. Yes, Junior, that's correct. Okay. Hello, Tarcisio. What is the meaning of setup? It's a phrasal verb. So, Ruben, set up can probably have many different meanings. For example, Ruben, set up means if you have any kind of equipment or something. For example, Ruben, I'm a drummer, so I have drums. And if I need to perform, then I need to set up my equipment, right? So that means I need to put all of that stuff in a case, and I take it to the performance, and then I open it up, and then I need to put it all together. When I put it all together, putting together your equipment is setting up, okay? But set up means, basically it means to prepare and get ready for something. Okay, so it could be maybe a test on the computer. Let's say you're taking a test on the computer. Someone has to get it set up and ready for you to take the test. Okay, so once again, it means to get something prepared to do something. All right? Thank you, Ruben. Will my teeth become purple? Maybe. I don't know. Don't care. They're still yummy. Wow. Okay. So many questions. Again, please be patient. Natalie says, you use your left hand in order to develop your creative abilities. Am I right? Not exactly, Natalie. If you're talking about the whole left brain, right brain thing, that has mostly been debunked now. There's not a lot of evidence that shows the idea that the right brain is this and the left brain is that. Apparently, that's not really, no, that's not how it works. The brain is too complicated to be so binary. Just like, oh, well, this side does this and this side does that. No. The brain is much more complicated than that. But you're close. You're close. I use my left hand to do things like texting or drinking water or brushing my teeth. Basically, to develop coordination for my left side of my body, because my left side of my body is the weak side. I'm right-handed, so I have more coordination with my right side and my right hand, and more strength with my right side and right hand. If you want to develop more coordination with your weak side, then there's really only one way to do it. You have to use it more. So I try to take as many opportunities as I can to use my left hand to do things. And if you try it, you'll see it's pretty awkward the first time you do it, you know? You're so used to brushing your teeth with your strong hand. You know, if you try to do it with the other hand, it's going to feel really weird. Please explain about a wide range of prepositions that come after verbs but don't change their meaning. That sounds like something I might need to kind of prepare for a little bit. But let me see. Give me one moment here. Let's see. Let's see. This might help you here. I think try this page first. And let's see if this link is too long. No, I think it's okay. Try that link first and see if that helps you a little bit. Okay? That's a fairly big topic, really. There are a lot of prepositions and there's a lot of verbs, so that would take a long time to go through all of the possible combinations. And here's one more. Here's one more link that can help you with prepositions and verbs versus phrasal verbs. Okay? So try reading those and see if that'll help you a little bit, all right? All right, let's see. Nada says, I have an interview in a school to be an English teacher. Any advice? Nada. Yes, my advice is to remember at any job interview, but especially as a teacher, they're interviewing you, but you're also interviewing them. You need to make sure that you don't go work at a place that isn't going to treat you well. Okay? So, Nada, it's really important to build up your personal portfolio as a teacher, your resume, your CV, so that you have enough power to be able to say, you want me to work here, but I don't know if I want to work here. Okay? If you have enough strength and power in your portfolio, then you can have that kind of leverage. Okay? But if you've never done anything before, then you don't have any power, and so you have to do whatever they say, right? That's called starting at the bottom, right? So it's important to consider your career like the long term. So maybe you're going to work there. So, for example, Nada, when I was 18 years old, I would perform in bars with bands, but I would play for almost anything. If you gave me a burger, I would play. Because when I was 18, I didn't have any experience yet, and I needed a lot of experience to build up my portfolio, to feel like I have some leverage over my career and the direction of my career. So that's my advice to you, is that you need to think about every job you take like how it fits into your whole career path. Okay? You would like to know how to get along with a bad-tempered mother. Lois? Speak English. Every time she gets mad, only speak English back to her. She'll get frustrated, then she'll stop. That's what I do if someone calls me. If I get if I get a call from someone trying to sell something, like if I get a random call, somebody's trying to sell something to me, then I'll just pretend that I don't understand English. I'll speak Chinese. And they usually hang up within a minute or two at best. Masa Safi says, how can I speak English fluently? Masa, there's no such thing as fluent. Fluent is a terrible word, and that word has done a lot of damage to all language learning. So forget about the word fluent, because guess what? I'm not fluent in English, and you're not fluent in Persian. Because if you look up the word fluent, the definition of the word fluent means nothing. It's a silly word. It means that you can speak easily about anything. That's what the word means. But no one on this earth can speak easily about everything. So yeah, I can speak easily about food. I can speak easily about music. I can't speak easily about rocket science. I can't speak easily about neuroscience or astrophysics. So the word fluent is not a word that will help you. Don't worry about being fluent. Just speak. The more you speak, the better you get. That's it. There's no end to language learning. So if there's no end, stop worrying about getting to the end and just run. There's no end to this race. So just run. That means use the language. Okay, so whatever you know how to speak, speak it. Whatever you know how to write, write it. Whatever you know how to read, read it. Whatever you know how to listen to it. Okay, and continue doing that every day, and you'll get better and better. That's the answer. Okay, there's no simple answer here, everyone. One of your friends keeps using that phrase and it gets you confused. Yeah, that happens sometimes with language learning. Sometimes people think that they know something, but they don't really. But that's okay. Maybe they'll figure it out. They'll figure it out eventually. Haruki says, hello, Mr. Mark. I'm Japanese, studying English now. I'm sure talking is the best way to improve skills. What do you think about that? Haruki, well, yeah, talking is the best way to improve talking. But, Haruki, there's no one way that's best for improving everything. Okay? Everyone wants a secret path. There is no secret path. Okay? If you're trying to find one way that's the fastest way to learn, you don't understand how to learn. What we're doing is imagine a mountain, okay? You're trying to learn this mountain, okay? So if you're trying to learn the mountain, no, we're not trying to just get to the top. No, that's not the goal. The goal is not to just get to the top of the mountain with one path. The goal is to know every path up the mountain. The goal is to know the mountain itself. So, if someone says, what's the best way to learn English? My answer is, every way is the best way. So, you should learn this path up the mountain, and you should learn that path up the mountain, and you should learn this path up the mountain too. Now, I know many of you don't want to do all that work, and that's fine. You don't have to. I'm just telling you how I learn when I want to learn. I don't want to get to the top of the mountain. I want to know the mountain. Could I tell you about linking words? Ooh, okay. So, there are many different linking words. You could say, also, moreover, regarding, again, indeed, furthermore, there's a lot of them, okay? And really, the best way to learn how to use those is to see them used. So, what I can do for you is this. Let me give you this link here. One moment, that's not the right one. Yeah, here's a good link that has a good page all about linking words and connecting words and what they are and how to use them with a big list of all of them. Okay? Good site. All right. I'm trying to keep up, everyone. Lily, in the past perfect, we should put had before the past participle, shouldn't we? Yes, in most cases, yes. I think, yeah, Lilith. It's always fun to do grammar in the morning. Shizuka says, I often see please kindly do something in the emails, but I wonder if it's correct or not. Yeah, please kindly reply as soon as possible. Please kindly message me when you arrive. Please kindly. Yeah, it's a slightly old way to speak, Shizuka, but it's okay. It's grammatically correct. Okay? What's up, Edwin? So again, Lilith, that past perfect example, there are examples that don't use had. Or I should say that don't use had before. It's after, right? So the thief had escaped when the police arrived. Okay? So it's still got had in it, but it's just in a different place, right? I think that's what you mean. Again, you can go here. Is that going to be too long? It is, isn't it? Well, this link is too long for me to post. But if you do a search for the British Council past perfect, yeah, do a search for British Council past perfect, and there's a good page that explains that. But I think you know how to use it, Lilith, right? You're a teacher, aren't you? I think you know how to do it. You know what, guys? If you should take anything from the fact that sometimes I don't really want to answer grammar questions, what's the lesson to learn from that? What is the lesson to learn from... Yeah, even Teacher Mark doesn't like grammar. So what's the lesson there? Anyone? I've said it before and I'll say it again. Grammar is not that important. And the point is that you need to focus on practicality always more than technicality, right? So the reason why I don't like grammar is because far too often, grammar causes people to put technicality over practicality. And so they spend all their time arguing about grammar, but they can't speak. They can't speak. So grammar is important, but just don't get hung up on it. All right? That's the lesson. Grammar is important, but don't get hung up on it. Remember what I say, that we're trying to learn how to drive a car. We're not trying to read about how the engine works. That's grammar. Okay? Drive the car. Don't read about the engine. Drive the car. And remember, there are many people who know how to drive and they don't know how the engine works. Well, there are many people who know how to speak English and they don't know much about grammar. It's true. Don't get hung up on it. To get hung up on something, Juan Carlos, is a phrasal verb that means to think about something too much, and now you're overthinking it and it's causing you to not do well because you're thinking too much. So it's like to get hung up on something is like if your shirt gets caught on something and you're stuck. Now you can't move, right? You're hung up on it. So if you're thinking about something too much, you can't move properly. You're stuck because you're stuck on some weird idea. Okay? Hung, H-U-N-G, hung up on it, past tense. Okay? Don't get hung up on it. Okay? That's right. Okay, please be patient. I'm trying to go as fast as I can. Wow, too many. Okay. Anya wants me to pronounce the word born. Anya, you need to just focus on the word or. Or. This or that. Born has the same or sound. B or n. Born. That's right, Shizuka. You could say set up the meeting. That's right. Set up the tables. Set up the equipment. Set up the tripod for the camera. Set up your computer. Anything. Yeah. Hello, Maria. Hello, Rakib. Is there a prayer in English to change the weather? Those in Italian don't work. Yeah, I don't know, man. Yeah, nothing's working here either. Could I tell you the difference between police, police officer, and policeman? Melody, police, that's a general word for all police. So if I say, I'm going to call the police, that means I'm calling the police department. I want someone from the police to come. It's general, okay? If I say police officer, that means one man who is an officer, who is a police officer, okay? There's officers a certain level of policemen. So there's officer and there's lieutenant and there's captain, right? Just like in the army, okay? And policeman is a general word for any police person, right? So again, if you see some police on the street, then you'll say, oh, there's a policeman. because you don't know if he's a lieutenant. You don't know if he's a captain. You don't know what kind of policeman he is, but you do know he is a policeman. So the word police and policeman sometimes are the same thing. You could say, there's the police. That means I see some police. There's two policemen walking. Then I could say, there's the police there. Okay? So, police is a general word for all of the police people, police officers. A police officer means one man who has the rank of officer, the level of officer. Okay? And then policeman or policewoman is just another general term for some person who works for the police, but you just don't know what rank they are. Okay? Is there a difference between hang on and hang up? Yes, Nada. Hang on means to wait, usually. If I say, hang on, let me look for this for a minute. Hang on means wait. Hang up is usually what we do when we are ending a phone call. Why do we say hang up? Well, Nada, because when I was a boy, we had those old phones that had the cable and they went on the wall, right? It's not a cellular phone. And after you finish your phone call, you have to take the phone and you hang it up. So to hang up means to end a phone call, because the old phones used to hang on the wall. And hang on means to wait. Yes, Tarcisio, that's my point. The word fluent is so abstract, it's unachievable, and I think it's pointless. And so it doesn't have a good... it doesn't help anyone, this word. It makes you think like there's an end to language learning, and there is no end. Bang Harry says, could you explain why I can understand you, but it's hard to understand TV news? So, Bang Harry, one reason why you can understand me is because I'm trying to be understood. I'm speaking to you. So I'm speaking slowly for you, my audience, right? When you hear the TV news, they're speaking for their audience. Their audience doesn't need anyone to speak slowly, so they might speak more like this. Everything might be a little bit more fast like this. Okay? Tonight's weather is going to be 71 degrees, partly cloudy with chance of rain at 10%. That's a little bit faster, all right? So, I'm trying to be understood, so I speak a little bit more slowly. However, you should make a note of that. You should understand that if you want your words to matter, then speak more slowly. If you don't think your words are important, then go ahead and speak fast. But I will never tell you that fast English is good English. No. Speed has nothing to do with good language. When you listen to music, is fast music the only good music? No. Is fast food the only good food? No. So, faster is not better. Better is better. Okay? Julie says, is there a way to speak louder when I speak English? I love that question, Julie. Thank you very much for that question. So this is an important thing to remember. Julie, I see you're from Vietnam. There are some cultural aspects to language, to the dynamics of language. Do you guys know what that word means? Dynamics. What is dynamics? What are dynamics? What are dynamics, everyone? I lost the question. Where did it go? Yes, there it is. Okay. Dynamics, everyone. Dynamics, in this case, once again, I'm using a musical term. I mean musical dynamics. Okay? So in music, dynamics means loud and soft. Okay? Dynamics means loud and soft. All right? Yeah, Belen, in physics, dynamics means movement of something. In music, dynamics means the movement of volume. Is it louder or is it softer? Okay? And we use Italian words for this, actually. Piano, pianissimo, pianissimo, mezzo piano, mezzo forte, forte, fortissimo. Yeah, these are all Italian words that mean soft, medium, and loud. So, Julie, in Vietnam, my experience, I've never been to Vietnam, but I have met many Vietnamese people. And my experience is, especially the girls, they often do speak more quietly. And this is very common in Asia. In Asia, very often women will speak with a much softer voice than men do. It's a cultural thing, okay? But you need to understand the cultural difference between there and here. So, if I'm saying that maybe in general Asian girls are a little bit more quiet, then can you tell me, in general, how do Americans talk? In general. Anyone? Loudly, that's right. Loudly. You've got it. So, loud and fast, right, okay? So, how can you learn how to speak more loudly? You need to learn how to project your voice. And voice projection all comes from the air that you have, okay? So if you use very little air, you will have very small sound. If you use a lot of air, you will have a very big sound. So, if I don't have a lot of air, then you whisper like this. But if I use a lot of air, then I can project my voice like this. Sorry, that's loud, I know. Okay? So, how can you project your voice better? One thing I'll tell you, Julie, is you can learn how to sit properly. Okay? This is what we learn in singing. Okay? In singing, we learn how to do this. Because if you're singing and you are not sitting properly, let me see if I can show you. One moment. So if I'm sitting on my chair and I'm sitting back in the back of the chair, many people, when they sit, they'll slump like this. Slump means that your body is curved forward, okay? Kind of like this. Now, if I'm slumped like this, that means that my lungs are crushed in my lungs. Slump, S-L-U-M-P. Okay, so my lungs are crushed. They're pressed in. Okay, they can't use you can't use your lungs very well when they're like this. Okay, so the first thing they tell you to do is move and sit right on the very edge of your seat. Sit on the last few inches of your seat. Okay, so sit on the few inches of your seat, and now look, your feet are flat on the floor and you are straight. Look at that. Now my lungs are free and open. Okay? And then here's another important thing to understand. What do your lungs look like? Your lungs are smaller at the top and bigger at the bottom. So sometimes when I ask people to take a deep breath, they do this. Watch this. I say, take a deep breath, and they go, no. If you do that, that's the smallest part of your lungs. Oh, excuse me. When you take a deep breath, you need to take a deep breath from down here in your diaphragm. Okay, so what you need to do is expand your lungs down. Watch me. Okay, now you have full lungs. So if you have full lungs, now you can sing, all right? Which means you can project your voice, all right? So when you speak, you must learn how to have air. And the air comes from down here, all right? And once again, this is like learning how to be a good actor. Not in movies. No. I mean a stage actor in plays. Because when you're a stage actor, you don't have a microphone. And maybe there are many people in the room sitting far away. So if you talk like this, then no one's going to hear you. And they're going to be very mad because they paid money for a ticket, but they can't hear you. So you must learn how to speak so that everyone can hear you. That's diction. That's projection. All right? All of those things. All right. Thank you, Shizuka. Wow, there are so many questions today, everybody. I'm really sorry. I'm trying to go as fast as I can, but please understand. I have to scroll back just to try to get all the questions here. Oh, wow. So many. Okay, so now... Vision said, in English TV news, there are many uncommon words. That's true, Vision. And that's a good way to learn new words, right? But, Vision, that means you need a notebook so that you can write down those words and then look them up, okay? And you can record the news so that you can watch it again and then understand what they say, okay? Send a hug for your daughter, Laura. Okay, Robeson, I hope your daughter's okay. Hugs to her. Do I use simple and easy words consciously so that we can understand what you mean? Yes and no, Shizuka. Shizuka, I've never seen the point in explaining something in a way that's more complicated than it needs to be. So, in my opinion, any good explanation should be in its simplest form. It's kind of like a math equation. You know, why don't you ever see 4/4? Because you reduce it to 1. Right? So nobody talks about 4/4, they talk about 1. Right? So that's the point, is if you're going to give an explanation, you should try to give it in its simplest form always from the beginning. It's always easy to explain it in a more complicated way later. But I always want to start with the simplest form. And Shizuka, I always try to remember Albert Einstein said, if you can't explain it simply, then maybe you don't really understand. Okay? But I do try to use simple language because simple language can be understood. Okay? Junior says, how to memorize new words. Junior, don't memorize new words. New words are like people, Junior. If you walk down the street and you see one guy one time for 1 second, you're not going to remember that guy. But if you see that guy every day and you have lunch with him every day, you will remember that guy. So, Junior, if you're trying to learn new words and you can't remember them, the very simple reason why is because you didn't spend enough time with those words. That's it. If you can't remember something, it's because you didn't spend enough time with it. So, go have lunch with your words. Okay? Tamila says, I never thought you'd teach us bad things, Teacher Mark. Am I teaching bad things because I said grammar's not that important? It's not. You know, in the scope of language usage, it's not that important. And more to the point, Tamila, the fear of incorrect grammar has prevented millions of people from speaking. That's not good. So I want to alleviate that fear. I want to remove that fear of grammar. So that's why I'm going to tell you, I'm always going to keep saying that grammar is not that important. Okay, what I always say is, if you're in school, grammar is important. If you're at work, grammar is important. If you're taking a test, grammar is important. But if you're not doing one of those 3 things, nah, not that important. All right. Lois, sometimes the best thing you can do is walk away. Leela Lalo wants some advice for someone who never speaks English. Leela, yeah, okay. My advice is, if you never speak English and you never really want to speak English, then the very least that you can do is learn how to think in English. So you can practice thinking in English anytime, and no one will know that you're doing it. You just have to think about, what are you wearing? Can you describe your clothes? What did you eat? What are you eating? Can you describe your food? What do you see? Can you describe what you see? There's a TV. The lights are dim. It's cool outside. Just use your English, whatever English you have, all the time in here. How to overcome the fear of speaking English. Crystal Chan. Crystal, can you swim, Crystal? Crystal, can you swim? Okay, so Crystal, if you can swim, how did you learn how to swim? You were afraid of the water, but you jumped in. And you understand that you can't learn how to swim if you don't jump in. So, Crystal, jump in the water. There's no difference. You learned how to swim. Did you learn how to ride a bike? That was scary in the beginning too. Everything is scary in the beginning. So, do it. If you want to get over your fear, you must do it until you're over it. All right? Okay, I've almost caught up, I think. Maybe not. Wow, okay. Hardy Boys #1 was hard to read. Is there an easier one? Esser, I haven't seen a Hardy Boys book in a long time. Esser, I think Google that question, Esser. Just do a search online for English reading books, and then maybe what you can do is find out what level are the Hardy Boys books. So do a search for what English level are Hardy Boys books. Okay? And then, if that's too hard for you, then try to find something simpler than that, okay? You can do that. Sarah says, I have problems pronouncing the letters RL in the word world. Can you pronounce it slowly? Yeah, Sarah, that is a difficult one. But again, it focuses on the letters OR, okay? So forget about W. Forget W for a second and just say the word ORL, oral, 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 and then add a D. Orald, orald, orald. Practice that. Then add the W. Orald, orald, world, world. Okay? All right. Shizuka says, I'm trying to imitate your pronunciation, but it's difficult because of the muscles of the tongue, maybe. Yes, of course it is, Shizuka. But also, Japanese, a lot of Japanese language is much smaller in the mouth than American English. So remember that, Shizuka. Open your mouth more. Just try to use a big mouth all the time. Okay? And it will make your English sound better. Thank you, Junior. Olivia, what's the meaning of you've been on late all week? I don't know. That looks like it's incorrect English to me. So I can't tell you what the meaning is because it looks like it's incorrect. We don't have the R sound, and the TH sound is also difficult for us. That's right. So Shizuka, that's why you need to learn how to pronounce the word car. Car. The word car is such a very important word in American English because it has that American English R sound. Car. And of course, the simple word are. Are you going to the store? Are you happy or sad? Are you hungry? Okay? So, but it's kind of funny how if you just put the letter C in front of it, sometimes it's much easier for people to say the sound. So try saying car. All right? Why do British men's voices sound so similar? I don't know. I can't answer that. Don't know. Not British. Can't tell you. Hang up is to end a phone call. Is there a word like that with hang to answer the phone? Yeah, pick up. Same thing, Juan Carlos. Old phones, we used to pick up the phone to answer and hang up the phone to end. So you can still say pick up that call. Okay? What am I saying, Victoria Lauren? I'm saying a lot of things. Ooh, my stomach is growling. Wow, I'm hungry. Fede says, sometimes they don't. Are you also talking about Canadians? No. Fede, yeah. Americans are really selfish that way. When Americans say the word American, we mean people from the United States of America. All right? Yes, I know it's really arrogant and rude because the Americas means North and South America. But we didn't start it like that. It just happened that way. Okay, so if anything, I don't think that Americans said we're American so much as other people said they're American. So anyway, that's probably not the point. The point is, are Canadians loud like Americans are loud? No, not quite, not usually, not unless there's drinking involved. If there's drinking involved, Fede, then Canadians are pretty much the same as Americans. If there's not drinking involved, then yeah, maybe Canadians might be a little bit more subdued or a little bit more mellow than Americans. But that's a very, very general stereotype to say. Of course, there are exceptions to the rule, right? Not all Canadians are that way. Not all Americans are that way. Okay, I'm just using some generalities that do have some value. Okay? All right. Do I have the experience of being a stage actor, Nicole? Kind of, but not really. Nicole, well, yeah, I guess I do. Nicole, when I was in high school, I went to a performing arts high school in my city. So I had math class and science class and English class and all the normal classes like everyone. But we also had arts classes like art or painting or dance or singing or acting or music. We had a lot of art classes to take. And I did study acting for 1 year. And but for 1 year is a lot, actually. You can learn a lot if you're really trying to study. Okay, so yeah, I did learn a lot then. And a lot of the tips that I'm using for teaching you English are tips that I got from that class. Okay? So when you stand and speak, you breathe the same, right, teacher? That's right. That's correct, Julie. When you stand, you also want to think about making sure that your shoulders are up and back so that your lungs are open and so that you can project your voice. Okay? I know how to teach. Yeah, I do. I've been doing it for a long time, man. Dean says the problem is we tend to use literal expressions when we think in English. How can we think in English and use native-like expressions? Dean, if that's your goal to eventually be able to think with native expressions. That's a good goal to have, but that's not the most important thing in the beginning when you're just trying to learn how to think in English, okay? So, look, everybody, when you're trying to do something new, you have to start at the beginning. So, if you haven't learned how to think in English, then you have to go back to the beginning and start with simple things. Eventually, Dean. Eventually, yes, the more you absorb the language, the native ways that people speak, the more you will be able to think like that. Okay? So absorb it, know it, speak it. Absorb it, know it, speak it. But you can't absorb it if you don't, know it. So don't worry about speaking perfectly like a native. Worry about, can I think in English at all? Because many of you can't. Okay? Speaking English is just like jumping into the water. It's a little bit scary in the beginning. Thank you, Shizuka. Thank you, Tarcisio. What do I think of falling in love with someone at the first sight? Melody. It's a really wonderfully romantic idea, but it's not based in reality most of the time. So I know it's not the answer you want, Melody, but love is more like science and less like fairy tales. Okay? That's my opinion. Okay? I'm a romantic guy. I feel like I'm a romantic guy, but when it comes to the idea of love, no, I don't have some idea that there's only one person in the whole world for you. No, there's a lot of people who could be for you. But you have to figure out if you're a good match. It's just science. It's simple statistics. Okay? What is a cheesy joke? Cheese is a food. That's right, Shizuka. Cheese is a food. And the word cheesy is a slang term that comes from the 1980s. And cheesy means kind of silly or awkward or bad, like not funny, right? So if somebody tells a cheesy joke, right? My favorite cheesy joke that I like to tell is I say, what did the purple grape say to the green grape? Or no, I'm sorry. What did the green grape say to the purple grape? Wow, I can't even tell my joke right. What did the green grape say to the purple grape? Breathe, man, breathe. That's a cheesy joke. Okay? That's a cheesy joke. It just means kind of silly and weird and like, kind of silly, cute, weird. Silly, cute, weird is cheesy. Okay? No, I doubt the English language. I doubt the English language will ever be renamed to the American language. No, I don't think it will. But that's not the point. It doesn't matter what it's called. What matters is who uses it and how it's used. Right. See, Tomas said, I asked a Brazilian and a Canadian. They both said they don't call themselves Americans. That's my point, right? So sometimes people get mad at me because Americans, we say we're American, but other people say it too. And so it's not just us, okay? You're welcome, Julie. You're welcome, Dean. People over 40 don't believe in love at first sight, Tanya said. That's kind of true. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you very much, Adam, for all those gifts. Thank you very, very much. How do people learn their native language from the beginning, like a baby? You listen and you hear and you repeat. You know, that's important to remember. If you had no choice, then you will learn. So that's why babies learn. They have no choice. They must learn or they die. So you hear and you say, oh, mama can give me food. Oh, mama, I know the word mama. And then you learn the banana. Oh, banana's food. I like that word. Apple. Oh, apple. I like that word too because it means I can eat an apple. So it's, you know, necessity is the mother of all invention. Okay, wow. Oh my God, I talked for an entire hour and a half. So listen, everybody, I need to take a break. It's 10:35 and I need to take a break, but I will be back. I have a second live stream coming pretty soon in about 25 minutes. In 25 minutes, I'll be back for my second live stream. Make sure you hit the follow button and the share button. I have about 48,000 followers, but you know what? I really want to hit 50,000 before my mother's birthday. My mother's birthday is the beginning of next month. And so I need 2,000 followers in the next 2 weeks, which I should be able to do. That's not too hard, actually. So that's what I want to try to do for my mom's birthday is I want to hit 50,000. So, you know, make sure you hit the share button and the follow button. All right. And like I said, I will be back very shortly, okay? And you can find me on YouTube if you go to find A Friend in Every Corner English with Teacher Mark. A Friend in Every Corner English with Teacher Mark. Yes, I know, it's a very long name. I like long names. Okay, so once again, everybody, I will be back in about 25 minutes, a little bit less than 25 minutes, okay? So thanks again for watching. Thank you for following, and I will see you guys soon. Bye-bye.